Heyo, good people. I'm your ghost of this podcast, Niraj. Yes, you heard it correctly. I said ghost. And you must be wondering why. Would you like to know? Well, if you do, go back and listen to the other episodes of the podcast. You'll get the reference. You see what I did there? Alright, people. This is the podcast where we discuss afterlife and your unique good place. And some might call it their good heaven. And I want to welcome to every listener who tune in every Tuesday to listen to this podcast. And I want to welcome to the new listeners. This is it. This is your destiny. You've always been looking for this. This is it. Just hit subscribe. Just hit follow wherever you're listening to the podcast. Alright, I'm going to cut my bullshit because today I am pumped. I'm pumped of the guest today. I've been hearing all your feedback, and I know you've been asking whenever you guys gonna hear my afterlife, my good place. And today, well, I did not interview myself, obviously, but I brought a special guest. Imagine me, but more annoying. And there's my sister. So yeah, today my guest is my own sister. She is currently in Kathmandu in Nepal, quarantined. She is a debater. She is a social worker, mental health advocate, martial artist, or a judo player, cook, sister. But importantly, she is love of my life. Without further ado, let's welcome Nishma Gautam. Hey Nani, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good also. So for my listeners, let's tell them more about relationship. You are my one and only sister, my true blood. How privileged do you feel?
Well, I do feel privileged, but I think I feel less privileged than what you should feel about having me as a sister. So yeah,
Yeah, whatever for an Android user.
it's OnePlus and it's better than your iPhone. Like I
Yeah,
know
sure.
iPhone lovers will come at me, but no, OnePlus is way better.
Yeah, say whatever you want. Okay, listeners, I'm gonna put a poll up. We're gonna do a competition out. We're on the poll. Vote for Android or Apple. Let's our listener decide. What you think?
Yeah, that's good. But listeners also
On the
know
on the
that
Instagram.
Yeah, okay, Android is not always equals to Samsung. So there are way better phones like OnePlus. Look them up and then decide. iPhone
Yeah,
is just a brand. OnePlus is an experience. So think about it.
just say whatever. iPhone's gonna win. And I
OnePlus, you
never.
could OnePlus, if you're listening, you could pay me because I'm like your brand ambassador out here as well. So just letting OnePlus know.
Yeah. So speaking of brand ambassador and your works, let's talk about your blog. I know you've been writing a blog, and I've been reading it. Let's talk more on that. Why don't you tell our listeners about your blog?
Yeah, so like I just started it recently. I just wanted a place where I could share my views, share things that I think about like lately, or things that I think about on regular basis, and things that help me understand the world around me better and understand myself better. So I just wanted a place for me to let out those ideas, because I used to do it on Facebook, but it just like got annoying at times, because people, there are a lot of people with a lot of different opinions, and I'm not saying that I don't like opinions. I'm just saying that I don't like the idea of having to be validated. So which is why I started a blog, and it's nice. I'm learning so much about running a blog and how websites work. It's very difficult for me because technology is, and especially websites, are something that I've always been very confused about when I'm learning, and it's fun. I write about
Android
things.
user.
Yeah, as if iPhone does not customize everything for you, where you don't have to do anything is at all. But still,
Yeah, going
it's
back to
fun.
the
I
blog, I know
Yeah.
you recently wrote new topics, and you have two topics, two discussions so far.
Yeah. So the first one is about my introspection on my insecurities, and I think it's something that a lot of people can relate to. It's about how our insecurities, about the way we look, which is something very relevant to a lot of people. So how those insecurities first originated in me, and the second one is about my own personal growth in viewing the LGBTQ plus community, and about how I, because of the society I like grew up in, was I don't know, homophobic in some ways, and now, like, because I understand the word better, like, I am a better person, and I know that we all should be able to accept people for the way that they want to live, or the way that they are.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
the
and
first.
so and I write about those things, and mostly I write about my own experience, so that I would not be putting other people's words uh, into my blog or something like that.
So when are you planning to post? Are planning to do a new post?
I was planning to do it weekly, but I just it just ruined the fun of doing it, because I was trying to do it for fun, and it just became like yet another deadline for me. I'm working on my third post. I'm sort of having, I don't know, air quotes, writer's block.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying. It will be out soon. It's half done, and I'm just not. And like the feeling of like this is it is not come yet, so I'm just waiting for that.
Not a worry. I think by the time this podcast gets out, I'm pretty sure your blog will be out. So, do you want to maybe tease the audience what it is gonna be, or maybe it's already out, what they will be looking for?
Um, so like I said, it's mostly going to be about my own experience. So, well, if people want to know about my experience, then yeah, I would tease them. It's about my existential crisis, about the world not letting me feel like an introvert, or the world not like telling me constantly that I'm not an introvert, even though I certainly feel comfortable being an introvert. So I think it's about that.
So, we talked about a lot of things, but we missed the important part. Where do people find your blog? How do we find it?
It's in WordPress. So you just type nishmatuag, that's nishmatuag.wordpress.com, and you'll just find my blog there.
Awesome. Go check it out, people. So, the main reason that I invited you, and something I've discussed with you about this, even before starting the podcast, is this existence, and also which was a good segue. I was thinking about it, and we're going to discuss about afterlife. So do you, and it's so weird, we personally haven't discussed about afterlife, and it had to be a podcast for us to finally sit down and discuss on it. So do you believe in afterlife?
um well, I want to, but I don't. Like, I don't believe in afterlife. No, I want to. Like, it's an amazing idea. What, like, especially being a Hindu, and then the things that we are told about afterlife, and the karmic will, and so many things. And I want to believe in all those, but I I don't believe in afterlife. I just think
Sure.
that it ends.
See, and that's what I want to explore. Why do you not believe it? I mean, obviously, this wanna have this idea of afterlife. Like, yeah, it would be fascinating to have one, but why don't you believe in afterlife?
Um, I think the reason why I don't believe in afterlife is I think it's a human creation, because we as humans we're very used to hanging on to things and not letting go and wanting to have more. And I think the idea of afterlife came because of that, because the idea of death is too painful if you think about it, because we as humans we want longer life, we want good things to stay in our lives for a longer time. So I think that's how the concept of afterlife started. But I really think in reality, when you die, you just die. It's just blank. You just lived here, you just had to live your life and you just die. And I don't think you go on to some other realms after that. It's just that you are alive like any other beings on this earth. So if I think if afterlife is possible for humans, it should be possible for the animals, but we don't hear about those, right? Because I think it's just humans and their imaginations that has led us to believing that we are the only ones having afterlife. And yeah, I really think it's just our imagination and our clinginess to the life that we're given or to the life that we live. So I think that's why I don't think.
You know, it is so weird. It never has been brought up, like how this idea of afterlife is so made up, how it could be made up, because it that does make sense. We are always trying to teach people how to be more moral and how we should be acting, and what's the reward is this afterlife world that you will go to, which will all be good and dandy, you know?
Yes, exactly. And I think that idea in particular is, I know it is worked, but it's also quite annoying that, you have to you have to it's in a way it's manipulating people's feeling of not wanting to let go into policing them into behaving certain way, even though they're moral ways. But in some religions they're not moral things, they're just what religion wants you to be, right? So I think it's also it's 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 sad how this idea of afterlife in many religions around the world is something that has been used to police us, for us to behave in certain way. And especially if you look at in Hindu religion, we're told that there would be like we'll have so many lives before we'll get another human life, and so many human lives until we get that nirvana. So this idea and this policing of people, telling them that you'll go to heaven if you do this, or you will be born as an animal or someone from lower caste, which is a very wrong idea to set on people's mind. So I think it's a way of manipulating people as well.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, definitely. And that's why I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea of entire this religion myself, because of the similar reasons how religion is brought up as something to police people, especially who are underrepresented, and not give them as much opportunities, and always have this class or difference.
Yes, I think that's the inherent problem for all the religions.
Right. So, let's. I know you said you don't believe in afterlife, uh, but I guess you answered this already, which I was about to ask, what do you think happens right after you die? I guess you answered complete darkness, right?
Yeah, but I think there are two perspectives to it. One is for you, you die and it's end. Tada, like the curtains close, and then there's
Ta-da.
nothing like yeah, exactly. There are no credits, and but then I think there are audiences like in movies as well. After you die, the movie ends, but there are people watching it. It's I think it's similarly you die, but then there are people around you, and I think after you die, things won't happen to you. I think things happen around you and to people around you, people who love you. They're going to cry for you maybe or miss you. And if you've done good things on earth, if you've done good things in your life, I think you will be remembered for a long time. Or even if you're not popular, you will be remembered in your circle, in your family. And if you've done bad things, maybe people will say, yeah, it's sad that they died, but they were not kind of a good person, so that's fine. Or I don't know, something like that. So I think you don't. It's just I gave you the analogy of movie, right? Like people walk out
Right.
and some don't like it, some like it, some like it ended, some want it, some will want more of it, some will get good learnings out of it. So I think that's what happens, not to you. You just die. Yeah.
So let's say let's create this hypothetical world because nobody knows what happens after you die. It just no, like I always say to my every guest is nobody has came back and said, "Hey, that place is fucking awesome," you know? So we just don't know what happens. And I think that mystery on its own gives us more to discuss about and makes it more interesting. So let's say this hypothetical world does exist. What does Nishma's good place uh, look like?
um So before I answer this, I just want to add on something you said. You just said that no one is returned from the dead. But if
Hmm.
you look at Christianity, Jesus had, but even he didn't tell us how the afterlife looked like.
True.
He just made sure that we became good people on earth and nicer people to each other. So
True.
yeah, so we can pin it on Jesus for not telling us how afterlife looks like, because apparently
Yeah.
he
And
came from
Jesus,
dead.
you let us down.
Yeah.
Well,
But
if
yeah,
if if Jesus has had told us, I wouldn't have a podcast. So I guess
worked out fine for you.
I suppose.
Yeah. So yeah, hypothetically, well, you could say that I don't have much imagination, but and also can tell me that I am one of those clingy people for whom the idea of afterlife existed. But I want to live in the same world, but where people but a utopian world where people are compassionate towards each other, like idea of class, race, caste, gender discrimination. All this discrimination don't exist. I think the reason why I want that um, good place, or the idea of it sounds so fascinating to me, is because it's something that I've been longing in my current life so much, because I want to see a more compassionate world where people have the ability, well, I do believe that people innately have the ability to think for other people as well, but where people don't shy away from the idea, or people don't feel comfortable addressing to others problems, or less privileged people's problems before theirs. So I think I would want to live in the same world, perhaps grow in, be in the same house in the same country. That wouldn't matter. The only thing that I would change is the people, and for good.
So it would be exactly like Earth with better people.
Yeah, better people, loving people, people not being assholes to each other. I think we can use these words, right?
Oh
Yeah, we
yeah.
can.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah.
So this is I've heard something similar, but people don't you think people need some kind of negativity to know what not to be?
Yeah, but that's for the earth, right? I'm in my good place. I don't want
True.
negativity. I just want I just want to feel what it would feel like if people were just nice, and just to, and it would be a nice reflection session for me after I die. So, I can just be like, oh, in this situation, if people are good, it would not have worked out in earth, right? So I can just be there, and then I have this I analyze things a lot. So, even after I die, I would like to analyze things, and then look for different outcomes and weigh pros and cons, and then have the best outcome, or think of the best outcomes. Sounds boring, but I think it would be fun.
Yeah, exactly what I was gonna ask. Like, if this afterlife does exist and you do have this utopian world where everybody is only good and compassionate and all this positive qualities, wouldn't it just be boring? And this is something you're gonna have for eternity because we don't know how long this is gonna exist, you know?
Yeah, but then I don't know. I don't think I want it to be like, I don't know, God or some supreme force magically, like they just magically changing people's thought into being good. I just want it to be their choice, right? So if it just gets boring, I think, like humans are capable to create chaos out there as well.
Yeah,
But I just
we
want
are
people's
humans
first,
after all.
exactly. So I just want people's first instinct to be compassion, and that's something that lacks right now in this earth. So
Sure.
I just want it to be first instinct to be compassion, but but it also, if you think about it, being nice or being compassionate only feels boring when we personally believe that there are better feelings out there, or when we personally think being negative in certain situations or being rude in certain situation works. But when the other person is not rude to you, I think you would not feel easy to be rude to that person as well. If someone is doing good to you, I think it would feel nice to do good for them as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I like to imagine a world where people are competing who's doing a better job, like who's treating you
Yeah,
better.
exactly. And I don't necessarily want it to be a competition as well,
Sure,
because
yeah.
yeah, but it's just like
I didn't
people
know
don't keep
how
scores.
to put it in a better word, you know?
Yeah, people just don't keep scores. They're just nice. Like, imagine, like, it's very difficult for us to imagine as well. Like, it's the same world we live in, but people are just nice. So it just puts our world in perception about, like, how horrifying the world we live in right now is, if we cannot even imagine people being nice to each other as a working factor in this world or any world.
Sure. So I- if if I give you a chance to take three things from this world to your utopian world that you've created, what three things? It could be something abstract or any material from this life to your uh, good place. What would those three things be?
So one would be, can I just say, not a single thing, but a single thing, but that comprises of a lot of things. Can I just, I don't know, try to be a smart
No,
ass?
just say it and I'll decide.
I want to take a library full of books.
Oh
a,
shit.
a
Okay,
library a library
I'll give you that. Uh-huh.
Okay, so I want to take a library where there I love fiction, so I'd want a lot of fiction. And yeah, I'd want a library so that I would not be bored in a place where everyone is compassionate, like we thought of. So a library. Second thing would be Netflix subscription, because, like, come on,
Uh-huh.
like, I just want, I want entertainment in
So,
life.
so you need you will be seeking for legit Netflix and chilling.
Yeah, exactly, like, literally. um
Literally, yeah.
yeah, like, it's just like, if the world, if my good place gets boring, I'll have that, I don't know, horrific movie from us to watch, right? So it's
Right.
nice to have Netflix subscription and just to stay updated with world and what are the what good movies are there or not, and are the movies still misogynistic or homophobic or not, things like that, just
Right.
judging the place. um, and the sorry for the background. That's It's COVID crisis time, and I live nearby hospital, so helicopter. Um, uh, so the third thing that I would want to take is I don't know, those are the two things that I would need to survive. Um,
To survive.
yeah, I don't know. Perhaps I'll take your podcast and see what people's versions are of afterlife and laugh with them because
That's
necessary
not
it's
how
not
it.
that.
That's not
Yeah.
how it is.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like a very judgmental person, but yeah, everyone judges everyone out there. So yeah, I take your podcast because it's a very nice podcast to listen to. So yeah, shout out to this podcast where I'm being interviewed.
Hey, it doesn't hurt. Just plug it in wherever you can plug it in.
Yes.
So, uh, so books, and we wanna also take this podcast, and we wanna take Netflix. You're set.
Yeah.
So let's take some people now. So I'll give you a chance to take three celebrities, dead or alive, to your good place.
Okay. Celebrities. Can I take fictional characters instead?
Okay.
Okay.
Since you
So
already established that you're a fan of fiction and all, I I I kind of saw this coming.
yes. So yeah, I love fiction. I love fantasy novels. Um. The fantasy novel that I am a huge fan of, um, is Lord of the Rings by
Hmm.
none other than J.R.R. Tolkien. So, and I really love the character Gandalf,
Okay.
and because he's very wise, and he's very wise, and he's been the guardian of the Middle Earth for a very long time, and he's one of the five, and a lot of things. But I'd want to hear and he's practically lived for a very long time, and
Imagine
and
he's trying to step into your good place, and you'll be like, "You shall not pass."
yeah, that's something I wouldn't do to him at least. But yeah, I would want to spend some time with him. It would be fun.
Sometime he'll be there for eternity, my dear sister. Okay.
No, it would no, like he's already lived for eternity, so I think he's the one who should be
Hmm.
concerned about living some more, because then he just got his rest, when the books ended, when the movies ended. But I guess the series is coming now, but still, like, he just got his rest, and then I'll just wake him up for eternity, so I think he'll be the one having problems, not me.
Uh,
um uh,
Gandalf and
yeah. Second one is, I don't want more wise people because I have one. Otherwise, I would have told, Dumbledore or Yoda or people like that. I think the second person would be um, Elizabeth Bennet. Lizzie
okay.
Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. She's fun. And also maybe because I've been reading a lot of Jane Austen lately. So she's very fun. She's very witty, and I think we would have very nice time judging people. And now that she knows that it's very wrong to be prejudiced against people, I think we would vibe.
Okay.
So Elizabeth Bennet, she's fun.
Okay. And
Um, and the third one would be um. So I'm a huge fan of the Game of Thrones show, mostly because I haven't finished the books yet. But I want to have the Night King with me.
oh shit. Uh-huh.
Yeah, because he's a very interesting character, and like, the books have not ended, and I've not ended the books that are available yet, but the character is very interesting, and I because the like series did a shitty job in explaining
Yeah, show
us,
didn't do any justice.
yeah, like his origin, and like how did he turn it, like, all bad and stuff. And it's a good place where people are good, right, in my world, so he has
Yeah.
to be good. So I'd want to see that version of Night King. Like, I know, like,
He'll
it's
be bringing you
global.
flowers.
No, like I don't see him that way, but you know
I,
yeah, but it would be very interesting to know about his story. And it's basically like J.R.R. Martin has told us that, like, he's a embodiment of global warming and stuff. And so I think, that version, like his version, would be how he felt left out, and how he had to change, and he had to wipe out all the humanity. And I think it would also be what the earth would tell us. So I think it's a very nice analogy, and it's fun. So yeah, Night King.
cool. So
Yeah.
we're coming towards the end of the podcast. So if you have any final thoughts, or if you want to say anything to the listeners.
um yeah, the final thoughts are not quite much. It's just that, let's try to make this earth like my good place. Like, let's try. We can be more compassionate, we can be nice people. We can wear masks, if not for ourselves but for others, and also for ourselves. Like, the coronavirus will end, but your life, the probability of your life ending, will increase if you catch it. So,
Hmm.
there's the catch. So yeah, be nice, be good, and I hope you make this earth your good place, and your life meaningful. Sounds too preachy, but yeah.
No? Amen.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks a lot. You know, getting you on this podcast has been the hardest thing, like especially because of time difference and your busy schedule and all. But I really appreciate you being on the show finally.
Yeah, I appreciate you inviting me. I love the concept since the time I first heard about it. And I
Hmm.
was, secretly hoping for you to, invite me, and you did. And it's fun.
You are welcome. I'm kidding. Again, thanks a lot, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay,
All right, bye.
bye.
So, I just want to take a quick break and talk about how Anchor.fm has helped me out in this whole journey of creating podcast. They have helped me with distribution, and they have also helped me with recording, editing, and all that good shit. So, and amazing thing is it's all free. So I really appreciate Anchor for doing all this shit. It has everything that you need to make a podcast in just one fucking place. So just download the free Anchor app, or just go to anchor.fm to get started. They got, like I said, they got all the fucking tool you want. So just reach out. They'll distribute your shit on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the good stuff. So check it out. Download anchor.fm, alright? Take care. Alright, people. Don't even give me that crap that how mature she is, how smart she is, how better she is. I know. That's why she is fucking annoying. No, but I love my sister, if you can tell by the interview. And I love that interview. We don't necessarily talk about these stuff within us, about afterlife and good heaven, for instance. But I really enjoyed this interview. And yes, I'm gonna post the survey. Either you're on the side of Apple or Android. There is no in between. You gotta fucking choose your side, alright? I'm gonna post it on my Instagram. So go to the Instagram and go fucking vote for Apple. I'm not gonna hear shit about it. All right. So let me know what you guys thought. Like I said, I love this interview, and I want to thank you all for listening. Thank you all for tuning in. Let me know what you guys thought. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at mygoodplacepod, or if you prefer emailing, just email me at mygoodplace.pod@gmail.com. And I am working on getting a phone number, so you guys can leave me a voicemail if you like. So let me know what you guys think, if I should get a phone number, if you guys want to leave me a voicemail. And what I'll do is actually play your voicemail. If you have any questions about the show, if you have any questions for myself, just send me those questions and I will answer them here on the show. Alright, so till next week, stay safe, stay healthy, wear mask, protect yourself and your community, respect one another, be kind. Alright, namaste.